Good morning. It's Tuesday, September 12th, and this is early morning stream, the 5 a.m. And we are back at working on the Cathedral meme card in Blender. So if it's the first time you've joined, just a quick reminder, I do 3D recreations, mostly landscapes, in 3D software like Blender, Unreal Engine, and currently I'm working on a location in Sedona, Arizona called Cathedral. And all the work that I do is based on real world locations, so I usually collect a bunch of data, including radar data, satellite data, images, LiDAR, photogrammetry, reference photos, textures, everything I need. And I begin to recreate those scenes with real proportions, real landscapes inside of 3D software like Blender. And I use a particular process that I've sort of, I wouldn't say perfected, that's probably definitely the wrong word. I have established over the last year. I use a combination of a tool called QGIS, which is a GIS tool for sort of organizing and working with spatial data, so satellite data and radar and height maps and all that kind of technical stuff. And then I use Gaea. I recently switched over to Gaea. Gaea is basically like a procedural landscape tool, so I can bring in the real world data and I can manipulate it and adjust it and add some erosion and hydrology and sedimentation and a bunch of stuff to basically make the terrain look as realistic as possible. And then I can export in different formats that I can use in different 3D software. So I then bring it into Blender, where I actually set up a scene and light it and compose it and get everything set up the way I want. And I try to create a single 3D rendered landscape. And once I have that rendered landscape, I typically list it and sell it on one of the Web3 digital art platforms available for sale. So I've currently done 3 of those particular scenes. They take quite a long time, and I like to focus on one location, usually at a time. So this is actually the second of the 3 I've done. I've done the Oregon coast, so I've done a place called Haseda. This one is in Arizona. It's called Cathedral, and I've done one from Japan, Mount Fuji, called Fuji. What I do after I usually create that regular landscape photo is I evolve the scene. So I usually start with the render, which is in this case this guy right here. Let me just make sure that this is looking okay. Yeah. So it's this guy right here. And then I will often do like a derivative, so something kind of fun related to the culture, maybe for a particular project or kind of like a tribute. And right now, the process I've used is I've been doing meme cards, which is sort of a particular derivative that kind of contributes or plays tribute to Web3. And then I continue to evolve that scene into something more interactive. So I bring it into actual, more, I would call like interactive kind of game engine software. So Unreal Engine 5, where you actually can add dynamic lighting and animation and camera movements and actually have a player walk around the scene. So actually recreating that scene in a way where you can experience it in a more immersive way. And then my ultimate goal is to bring this all into a fully interactive video game experience. And it's going to take some time for me to get there. I've been learning and working on it and kind of figuring it out as I go, but we're still pretty far away from that. But I've just decided to document this journey. I've always had trouble sharing my work and sharing my progress. Excuse me, especially in a brand new genre. And I'm only 2.5 years into this sort of journey as a 3D artist, and I've been doing it only full time for a year. So, imposter syndrome kicks in. You feel often that you're not, at the level that you need to be really like sharing your work as you go. And it does take me a long time to sort of create some of this work, but I've decided just to sort of, dive in full and share my entire process and just put it out there and share the work that I do as I go, hold myself accountable daily with these streams. I've been streaming twice a day for 4 hours each time, so 8 hours a day, just like a full-time job. On my stream on the weekend, I explained reason why I did that, but just holds me accountable, gives me structure, gives me a plan, and it's been working for me. I'm just putting in the work every day. So this is the journey. I'll be working on something different every day. I'll highlight it, I'll explain it, but I'll often clip the best parts of this and share them out. It's also for me to be able to have that content when I release the work to actually show how it got made. Okay, so I think that's a good summary. So right now I'll bring up where we're at, and I'm going to just sort of work away. I'll commentate usually on what I'm doing as I go, and if someone drops in the chat and has questions, we'll divert and I'll answer them for the best of my ability. Okay, so this particular card has two scenes, and I should have rendered this last night, but I didn't. It has two scenes, and there's a night scene and a day scene. The day scene is think of it like a vintage 1960s tourism poster, 1970s tourism poster. That similar style, which I have done before. And then the day scene, the night scene, think of it as like a degen Web3 kind of like cultural tribute card, like something more synthwave style, more, like synthwave style, cyberpunk style, like that kind of futuristic version of the scene. So what I've been experimenting with is having both of those versions running on the same Blender file, and I've never done this before. So the first thing I have is testing the day-night scene, and this is the basic idea. So this is the night scene, and what I've been working on is making it so that when I switch to the day scene is only showing the correct stuff. So this one looks good. This is fairly correct. There's a bunch of stuff that we'll clean up that isn't perfect. But let me just show you. If I flip this to the night scene or the day scene, this is the night scene. I'm trying to make this so that only the stuff that I need for the day scene is showing up. And part of the problem is you can see that the lighting sort of got completely changed. So I don't know. I've tried this and it's kind of done some wonky stuff here where it will kind of like show one object and then hide the other, but it doesn't actually stay consistent. So what I actually want, I'm going to just test something, and I don't know if it's going to work. So I'm going to delete, I have a save so I can do this. So I'm going to delete the moon, and I'm going to delete the atmosphere for the midground and the night. Okay. So this is actually what the scene should look like for the day. It's just pretty close. But what I want to see now is if I flip to the night, do those delete on my other scene? And they do. So unfortunately, I got to figure that out. And I'm also now just going to go reverse to see whether if I delete something. Yeah, and that's very interesting. So I delete it during the day. I deleted it during the night, in the day scene, and it went from the night. So I'm just going to flip over to the night scene. And I'm going to delete, now the same thing. I'm going to delete the moon, the night, and the midground. No, that's not what I want. So we just think through the logic here. So I have it's a linked copy. So for the day scene, I had day, and then I added the midground and the night. So if I delete it for the night scene, it should be gone for the day. But what I want it to do is delete for the night. What I want it to do is stay. That logic doesn't make sense. Okay, let me think through this. Yeah, I want to delete it in one scene and not the other. So if I delete it in the night scene, it should stay in the day scene. Okay, let me try this. In the night scene, if I delete the day, and let's go back to here. Does this stay? Oh, froze Blender. Yeah, so this is kind of a product of maybe not fully understanding how Blender is handling multiple scenes. But I would like to get this right, because the difference is there's really multiple ways, right, to do this. Like, you can create in Blender. I'm just going to get a new window. Let's bring it over. So okay, so like the scenario is in Blender, you have like multiple lighting, right? So you have world lighting in Blender, and you can see that I've got world and day and night, and you can obviously switch between those. But then at the same time, you have different objects, and you have different, spotlights and things that you want to be on versus off in two different scenes. But you also have things that are never going to change, like the landscape's never going to change. Potentially, some of the objects are getting modified but not actually changed. There's a bunch of stuff that you wouldn't want, like you wouldn't want to adjust between the two scenes. And I guess the challenge that I have is the right way to do this. And there's something called scene layers in Blender, where you can decide which part of your scene is hidden and which part isn't in different scenes. That's great. That does most of what I want, but the problem that I found is it doesn't actually work for the world lighting. So you end up having to change the world lighting each time, which is really annoying. So I'm just going to just go look at the documentation and just quickly see. It's a great way to start a stream, is looking at the documentation for a product. But I just want to see if there's anything that kind of pops off the page at me. Scenes. Right, so each blend file can contain multiple scenes which share other data such as objects and materials. Cool. Library and data system. Okay, so I might have to look at that. So I can drop a scene, that's fine. Creates an empty scene, copies the settings. This option creates a new scene with the same settings and content. However, instead of copying objects, the scene contains links to the collection in the old scene. Therefore, changes to objects in the new scene will result in the same changes as the original scene because the objects used are literally the same. The reverse is also true. Okay, so that's what's going on. That's the copy that I did. It's just the part that I was sort of struggling with a little bit is that if I do a full copy, then it feels like I just have two versions of everything. So if I wanted to change one, I couldn't change it. What I really want is like, what I was thinking is that Blender would handle this the same way that it handles, like the same way it handles everything else, which is usually if you go into Blender and you look at an object, right? So this is a cube, atmosphere night. It uses this cube, 007, which I believe is a copy. But then it also uses a shader, which is material, which is poor naming, and it has two versions. And I believe, this one is using, this is using the day and that. Basically, I was hoping that I would have control over the object by simply, deciding whether I was using a local copy or a duplicate, like had two users using the same, or whether I was able to do them independently. It's getting into technical Blender stuff, but I just see if there's anything different. It's usually there's object data. You can link any object. Okay. So let me just look at this linked. Oh, interesting. Links the selected object into a different scene than the current one. Huh. Okay. So that's interesting. So like if I wanted, okay, so let's try to, I want to use an example. Like these are never going anywhere, okay? So this is the background terrain. So it's saying object. It's saying object, link transfer data, link object to scene. I don't see it. Okay. Interesting. So here it is. So you know, it looks like like I know what I want this to do. Okay, it's like I know what I want, and I kind of imagine how I could set this up. Like what I would want is basically like I would want a base scene, which would be the terrain, right? And then, you know, it would have, you know, in this case, like it would have the terrain with the foreground, the background, everything, and then it would probably have like the tent. But then again, it probably would be almost everything is going to probably change. So, I wonder if there's a way to quickly unlink objects. I mean, it would be nice if I could just unlink. What did I just do there? Whatever I did, I just caused a problem. I'm going to bring this up for my reference. This is usually where I have a reference file. I was working with that 6529, which is driving this particular bus. So this is my reference. You can see my, you can just see that my video is blocking it, but my OBS seems to be frozen, which is not a good sign. What do you do when you're streaming and oh, there we go. Okay. Yeah, so this is the reference right here on the left. So I started to put references for kind of everything I'm doing, and what I'm going to be working on. So this was like the water from yesterday, the whole thing. Yeah, okay. I'm just trying to, if I can just get myself kind of organized here, I'm going to close this file because I didn't save it. I'm just, I'd like to just get this because the further I go on this one, and I know this is not ideal for a stream, but this is what happens when you stream 8 hours a day. You're going to have some stuff that's not super exciting. Okay, so I got to think through this. Yeah, like hiding is really what I was hoping, right? Like I really wanted this. Okay, this is like what I actually wanted. I wanted it to look like this. Okay, so I wanted to see the day is running, and this will look right. Other than I just realized I have to fix one thing. So the day uses material atmosphere day. Okay, so this is actually what I wanted. Okay, and the night is going to use atmosphere night, and the day is too strong, so I'm just going to go to 0.001, and the sun, interestingly, is there. World is maybe too bright. I don't know what's going on here. Yeah, I'm just sorry. I'm just trying to get this back to what it was before. I don't think that was changed. I just think it was that world. Is it just this? Oh, it's probably this admission. Okay, there we go. So this is, I think, the original setup. So this is the atmosphere. This looks fine. We'll go back to the world. I think it was probably about 0.5. This is what takes. This is all the world lighting. So this is like a wraparound. It's called an HDRI that lights the world, and it's probably the most intense thing you do in terms of when you light it. It just takes a while to compose it. So it's like, this is what I would want, right? I would want the moon. I want basically atmosphere day and sun day to be on during the day scene. And then if we go back to the sun, looks fine. Let's go to the atmosphere. I think that this is just a little low. It would probably be like, okay, good enough, close enough, right? So we got this version here that's working, and then what we'd want is we'd want to flip to night, and then we're going to see, we would want these three to be on at night. Yeah, but see how it does this weird thing where it doesn't want to render it? Which I'm not really sure if that's just something like a glitch, but see, that is the night mode. And then it does this same thing. It goes back to day, and it reverses oddly the render, which is just odd. I mean, it works for quick preview, but it oddly, it feels like a bug that it just sort of, which is fine. I could fix that pretty easily, but it's just weird that it works on the view, but it doesn't work on the render. But that's fine. I can figure that out. Okay, so then this is fine for the day. The midground, night, and moon is off. The terrain is all going to stay for now. And then the rocks are the same, right? The cactus is the same. The camper has these two, right? It has this meme bus, which should be off during the day. Okay. And then the VW bus should be on, and this should be the same. Okay, so let's go flip back to the night mode. See what happens. Cool. Meme bus is on. This is off. So one option that might work is if I take all three of these and I move them to a new collection. What is the scene collection? No, it's, I think, to a full thing. Okay, so let's go new. I don't know the difference. Okay, let's go here. Let's call this environment underscore night. Okay. And of course, typical Blender, it decides that why would I ever want to do that? Let's move this back up here. We can make this active, and then we'll do the same with this one, right? We'll do M new env day. Maybe this will help solve that. I don't know why it does that. Solve this little bug. So during the day, we want this just completely off, right? Just gone. Versus this is totally fine. And we're going to go moon night, just to keep this easier. Atmosphere mid night. Atmosphere back night. So I have a couple different atmospheres for the night, which is what's causing that kind of haze and fog. Okay, so I think if we got both of these running, now let's just flip this over to the day version, see what happens. Okay, so let's go for the day version. Let's kill the night, and we'll leave the day on. We'll leave everything going, and we'll flip back and just see if it's handling this day-night thing. Okay, well, that's working. So perfect. And let's go back to day. Perfect. Okay, so good. So the trick with the scenes, whether it's a bug or maybe that's just like intended behavior, is we're just going to use collections, and we're going to put stuff in the collections that are for the day only and night only, and stuff that's not for both is just going to go generically. And then we're going to hide and show those, or basically disable those collections. So I think I can save this safely now. Sorry, I should have muted. So I'm going to quickly do a cleanup then. So these are some of the environmental stuff that I don't know, somehow got moved. I'm putting all this in botanic for now. I'm going to probably organize that. I don't think it's going to cause an issue because I want the cameras in here. Okay. Cool. So what camera is, where did our cameras actually go? So let's grab, this is another Blender thing I wish they would fix, is like Unreal Engine's got this wicked, it's got this wicked, like, pick only your lighting, pick only your, and Blender has it. It's just annoying, right? Like, you want this. There's no way to do like select only, just like isolate. So you have to end up doing this, which is really silly. And if you select objects, you get this. Okay, so this is the camera that we're currently on. So I just want to get this. This is actually, we're going to call this cam 2. And we're going to call this meme. This was original camera that I had that I adjusted slightly. You can see it. Oh, another issue with this. So you got all this stuff, and I don't know, one of these shouldn't even be here. That's annoying. Okay, so we're just looking for where that camera went. I should have got it. I don't know how that moved. Okay, so cameras. So this was a slightly different version. Just the way that see how it's just like a tilt and just sort of put it on the side. So this was actually, we'll call this one camera 3 meme. Meme B. And then this was camera 2 meme A. I just like to keep these as sort of a reference to like composition for the future. And then this is the primary. Okay, so this was the actual original, static one that I had, which I want to keep because I want to be able to move it. And this camera target is typically something I use for focusing. So I'll move that camera target wherever I want in the scene to focus the camera. Right now I'm just focused on this guy, his cigar, but it makes it really nice because when you are, when you're streaming, when you're not streaming, when you're moving camera around, you can just set the target and then you can move the target like with something. It's for kind of focus tracking and stuff like that. Okay, cool. So camera looks good. Environment looks good. Rocks are static. Okay, so I'm going to move all of this into, what do we want to call this? Like foliage? Would we call rocks foliage? I think we can call that foliage. So, I don't know if you would, there's maybe a better word for what I'm talking about here, but I think I'm going to go with it. Why can't I create? Okay. So we'll call this foliage. And yeah, while we're here, I'll show the batch rename, which is kind of nice. So if we just select, all these objects, we can do is we can set the name, and we can do a new name, and we can just simply say these are the pond. We'll call this pond rocks. Probably a better way to do that is rocks pond, and then hit OK. And then you sort of have like a simple naming with all the underscores. I wish that you could not do the little dot at the end. I wish it would do like an underscore and then the number. But I don't know if there's any way to do that. I guess I probably could, I'm sure there's a way to like multi-do this, but I don't actually know the process. So there it is, rocks. I've been looking at, Blender doesn't have anything like this, but I'm actually going to adopt this slowly from Unreal Engine. So Unreal Engine has, like, people typically work on one Blender file at a time. Blender's not a collaborative tool, right? So it's like one artist, one Blender file. You might pass it around for different people on your team, but generally it's one person. Unreal Engine's like 1,000 people could work on that technically on a video game. So it has proper version control, and it has there's someone published a standard on GitHub which is like how to name things, and it's just really specific, right? Like how you name certain things, like the order that you name them, how you organize things in certain files, and I want to follow it because one thing that's like frustrating about Blender is you open up a file and you're just like, where is everything? So I want to get better at keeping that much more organized. Okay. So, so what I was going to do is I have foliage. So I was going to bring the rocks into foliage, and I was going to bring the cactus, and I was going to bring the botanic, which is all of like the plant stuff. So this is kind of all these, like, these are things we scatter in the scene. Rocks, bushes, and I could probably clean this up. It gets kind of confusing because it's give multiple things using different stuff. And then this is underwater. Okay, so this is cool. So I can get rid of these now. These were basically placeholders. I get this fish. This is okay. So this is fine. Balloons are good. We can get rid of this, and we'll keep this balloon for now because we want to go look. This bobber hook should be, let me find out where that bobber is. It should be under camping. So this is the camper, and I think with the meshes. So this is our fishermen. I don't actually know with these coming in where this, if this is just, this is empty. Switch this over. I don't really know where this is or what this is doing. No software's decided to go crazy. Okay, there we go. So I just have two presets on my mouse, one for Blender and one for Unreal Engine 5. So they just let me use some shortcuts. So I was just looking at what this was. So this is sort of an empty. I just don't know if there's if it's doing anything. I feel like it's not. I'm gonna delete it. It's probably gonna come back to haunt me. Hey, VW bus is good. Donut is good. What I can do is I'll put something called I'll call this the like accessories. So the donut's gonna go in here. Okay. This lure is, yeah, so we're gonna go okay, so this is the fishing lure. Accessories is basically the stuff that's here. So we have like the donut, we have the camping chair. Get rid of this plane. I don't know why these are, oh, these are being scattered. Okay, so lantern. There's a lantern light in here, which I'll bring in. Okay, so this is the lantern. And then this one is, this is where things get weird with importing stuff. I don't remember what this is actually from, so I'm gonna have to go back and figure that out. Oh, this is the fish. Okay. which has got actual armature, which I don't need. Okay, no. I have to figure that out. So I'll put that under water for now. This is all part of the fish. Military cooler accessories. Yeah, it's like everything here. What is this? Man. That's another, I add these little things just pop in my head, and then I just like to add them to a mental note. There's a way that people package up objects typically for bringing into other software. So, it makes sense. Like, I'm sure there's a specific, I'm sure there's like a specific way. There's a specific way to bring stuff into software, right? Where, typically, like, say you have a tent, and that tent has like 5 objects. The way that I would understand it is you parent all 5 of those objects to basically a empty, and then you import it, and which the empty does is gives you the ability to quickly move the whole thing around the scene, and it is typically, I think, a little bit more reliable than parenting each individual object to each other. Fair. I found that, like, bringing stuff in from third-party software is just, it doesn't, like, it really is hard, and you get these situations where you move something and it doesn't bring with it, like, all of, like, what is that? That looks like an art. So this is like an armature, and typically, like, I'm not using it. What I think it is an armature for the fish. Like, and then it just sort of gets stuck, and it's like, okay, cool, like, I get that there's the fish is set up, for animation, which I'm not going to use, but it just seems like to me it's a little harder to get rid of that than it should be. So, like, this is the fish, and we've got all this stuff, but really what I want is, like, I want to get rid of the armature, but then it's like it's gone, and I don't actually know. Like, I don't know how to sort of dissect the part of the models to pull out the stuff that I don't want. Like, okay, so, like, this is, for example, these are the eyes, and it looks like something that I did caused the eyes to disconnect from the rest of the fish. But the problem is nothing is named properly. So it's like, yeah, I can, move this back, I'm sure, and reconnect the fish eyes. It's just odd to me the way that things are named. It just, my gut says there's something that about, like, the standard, maybe it's the software, that it is not, like, it doesn't need to happen that way. Like, all this stuff is great. Like, I just don't need it. But look, I can't really delete. So that's probably on my list to kind of organize myself and figure out, like, how do I actually adjust these armature stuff. Armature and animation is something I'm not super keen on in terms of learning, but it is something I'm going to have to pick up at some point and really dive into. I've done it, I'm just not I'm not super keen on it. I'm not super experienced with it. Okay, I think this is enough. I don't think I broke anything. Just to be safe, I'll save this as 1.3.5b, as I typically do for naming conventions. So in terms of the to-do list, I think we've got this. Okay, luminescence to the water. So I've been thinking about this, and I think this would be fun to work on here on the stream. So give me a second here. I'm gonna let's do the references first, then I'll take a quick break here, an hour in, and we'll get into this. So what I'm looking for is, it's not luminescence, it's water bioluminescence, I think is what it is. Yeah, bioluminescence, that's it. Okay, so we want this in our water. So see this effect? And what I'm going to do is I'm starting by creating an area of my references with as many references to this as possible. So learning how it works might be important, but really this is what I'm looking for. And it's pretty simple in PureRef. You just copy and paste. It does a pretty good job of grabbing anything. So the immediate thing that I notice about this is that it seems to really, it gathers around the, okay, so basically it looks like anything that's touching the water is getting the bioluminescence. So in the case of, like, if you look up here, you know, this is movement, right? So this is kind of the foam that comes in, basically on the beach as the waves come in. Same with this. Same with this. There's a bit of foam here going on. And if you look at, like, this dog scene, you can see that what the dog is basically disturbing in the scene is what's getting the bioluminescence. So if we look at our scene, we sort of just bring these in. Let's just do a couple more. This is interesting. I think this is probably could be fake. Well, definitely, I don't think it's green, but we'll bring it in just for good reference. Trying to find, I'd like to find one with like a bit more still water. By the way, I think also, like, these effects are not, I mean, I'm sure this looks amazing in person, but these are all long exposure, so you're getting, like, something like this is interesting. Okay, this is kind of cool. So I mentioned this before on the stream. Copy image, paste. Okay, so what we want to do is we probably just want to make these a little bigger. You can even in here, you can typically normalize these so they're sort of the same, and then you can also align them. You can stack them like that. You can align them like horizontally. I don't think there's a way. There's a way to optimize the entire canvas, but not the entire scene. So I wish there was a way to sort of just have these kind of stack together. Okay. So now what I just do is I'm going to images or canvas, save, export scene. I just save over my original file. It takes a second to export it. Okay. And then I go into this Cathedral reference and you just reload it. I love PureRef. It's a really great asset tool, but I really don't like how the interface of, like, I like everything to sort of be in Blender on top. So there's our bioluminescence now. Okay, so what we got to do here is a couple things, right? We have to figure out, and this is why these rocks are kind of interesting. So I'm just going to bring one of these rocks in. I'll duplicate it for now, and I'm just going to bring it into the scene. We're going to use it for this, and, you know, maybe we end up keeping it in the scene. Let's just leave it here for now. I know it looks kind of ridiculous. Okay. So to do the bioluminescence, we need a filter on the water that's going to tell us where there's going to be the bioluminescence and where there's not. And I did this on the last stream. I probably should have tightened this up and organized this a little bit. But basically, maybe let's do this now and then I'll take a quick break. Okay, so this is the displacement, and I'm just going to grab everything going on here. This is too bad that I have this organized this way. Okay, so this is the clear. Transparent. So basically, this is what's causing the water to be clear here, transparent. And basically, we have a mix shader. And then on this side, okay, this is not actually being used, so we'll get rid of that. And then on this side is basically the water, the standard water, reflective, right? So this is everything that's reflective, and this is the only part I don't quite know. I'm just going to duplicate this because I don't know if we're using this, and we're using that for the roughness and for the bump displacement, which is interesting. So yeah, I don't want to get crazy and start messing this up. So I have a bit of a spaghetti here because I have both displacement and the bump happening from the same place. Yeah, that's interesting. I think I know what's happening, but basically what's happening is that we're generating like a bit of bump on the water, and then we're feeding that in and displacing. Hey Senpai, how are you doing? Thanks for joining early here in the morning. Appreciate you. If you have any questions, let me know. If you want context of what I'm working on, I can do a reset. I've been streaming every day, so I feel like I'm repeating myself, but I'm happy to sort of walk through anything and questions, comments, and if you know this stuff better than me, anything to do with Blender in particular, if you're into it, just shoot me messages with suggestions. Okay, so you're new, yeah. So just, if you're watching, again, these are live streams I'm doing every day of my work. So yeah, okay, so I'll explain it. So I'm a 3D artist, and I specialize in doing like environments based on real world locations. This environment you see on screen is based in Sedona, Arizona in the USA. And what I've been trying to do is just stream every day what my process is and sort of just like working. It's more of accountability for me to keep myself on a schedule, but also to have content. So as I stream, if something interesting happens or there's a certain technique that I use or a part that I want to capture, I can grab a clip from the stream and share it out to social media. So the streams are really like, almost just think of like, I'm just live streaming my process and my work. If people have questions about what I'm doing, I can answer. If they want me to go on a little tangent around a tutorial or kind of show something that I've done, I can do it. I answer general questions about, creating 3D landscapes, Blender, Unreal Engine, and Fortnite. Those are kind of my tools. So every scene I make, Senpai, every scene I make is, again, from a real world location. So if you look at this one, this is where we are in the world. We are in, thank you, I appreciate it. And, I'm not going to lie, these are long streams, so just, pop in and out anytime. But hopefully I'll get a good process down for like clipping and pulling out the best parts. But while you're here, you're welcome to kind of guide me in terms of something you want to see or something that you you want me to talk about. But here's where we are in the world: Cathedral Rock, which is in Sedona, Arizona, USA. Let me know if you want to let me know where you are in the world. That would be cool. But this is United States, Arizona. Scroll in, there's Phoenix, and then we go up to Sedona, and there's this very famous kind of trailhead and hike. Hey, Resolve Shark, yeah. So what I've been doing typically for your schedule is, hey, in India, awesome. So typically, guys, for the schedule, I have been streaming in the morning, 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. Eastern time for me. And I've been doing Unreal Engine work, Blender work. In particular, I'm working on this project, which is this scene, which I've been going through. And then in the afternoon, I've been flipping to Unreal Engine, and I actually bring these scenes. So it's kind of the process I'm using, is I bring these actual scenes into Unreal Engine and make them interactive. So I'm slowly developing out cinematics and lighting changes, and eventually like a full-blown video game inside these worlds. So this is my process. If you want Unreal Engine right now, it's all of the afternoon streams, and Blender's in the morning. I just started doing the YouTube one. I've been doing it on Twitch. So you want to see some previous videos, you can go on Twitch, or I will slowly upload stuff to YouTube. There was also like a weekly, it's called 3D, I think it's just called 3D World Creation, on the weekend on September, I want to say it was September 8th or 9th on a Saturday. And that was like a 2-hour stream where I had like a summary of everything I did. Yeah, afternoon is 2 p.m. Eastern to 6 p.m. Eastern. That's my stream for Unreal Engine every day, Monday to Friday. Saturday is like a wrap-up stream, so it'll be like kind of here's what we got done during the whole week, and then Sunday's off. And as long as I can handle it, I'm going to keep up that schedule. So here's the actual location, super slick rock. And if you take a look at this right here in Arizona, there's this like cool little area here, and you can actually see how there's like these kind of like little indentations in the rocks. Well, when it rains in Sedona, these fill up with water and they actually become puddles. And when you are up here and it's rained, you could actually put your camera super low in these locations, and you can actually take a photo that looks like a lake. Makes this actually look like you're taking a photo of a lake. So I'll show you this. I actually have all of my references from here. So I think if I go to output story, hopefully this will come through on the stream, but I should have a video. I think it's this one. So take a peek. So if you can hopefully see this on the screen, okay. So this is me actually in Arizona taking a photo as a reference of this little pond, this little puddle. So that right there that you just saw is basically this, is literally right here. And if you kind of scroll down, you can see the location. And then I've also done like LiDAR scanning. So this is a scan of me going out and actually doing a full LiDAR scan. So this is scanning this this cactus, and this cactus is actually in this scene right here. So this is the 3D scan of the cactus. And you can see like I've already done this render. This is the render right here that I've already created. And in this camera environment, it's this one right here. So it's this view, but it's 16 by 9. So 1920 by 1080. So this is the original scene, and if you just get rid of the camping, you can see, and the balloons. This is basically my original render, and this has just gone through like proper rendering with noise reduction, and then I've gone into Lightroom and Photoshop and edited the photo. But if you turn on camping and balloons and you change the camera, this is the current one we're working on, and this is we call this like a meme card, 1080 by 1350. I never know the ratio, so I just do this times 2. This times 2. It's like 2160 by 2700. So this is the scene that we're working on now. Like there's a whole backstory for why I do these scenes, but basically I always try to create like a cool tribute to the Web3. I'm gonna do NFTs and Web3 stuff, so I sell my work typically in Web3, and I always do a tribute to that world using what this thing is called a meme card. It's basically an animation. So yeah, this is the scene. Look, there's the comparison, right? There's the photo, and there's the actual render. And then, if you may have missed it, if you guys are tuning in, there's a night mode and a day mode that I'm working on in this scene. And I've just been organizing my file because I found it to get a little bit out of hand. But currently we're in the day mode, which is like a vintage, like think of like a vintage tourism poster. Like these old school, let me bring up one of these, right? We have these tourism, you may have seen these from the US. I'm from Canada. I typically live out, I'm in Ontario right now, but I typically live out west in a place called Banff, Banff National Park. But yeah, these are the ones that you kind of like. This is where I am now, actually, Ontario. But see these kind of vintage tourism posters? These are the inspiration for the vintage side. So I'm from this area here called Lake Louise. But these is the style that I'm kind of eventually going for the tourism poster. And then the night mode is the meme kind of degen Web3 stuff. So if I flip over to night, everything's going to change. And now we've got this guy here. We've got the fog. We've got the whole thing. Then the mode is totally set up differently for night. And this is a follow-up to a previous art project that I did. So you can see this one. If I go on to OpenSea and find my account, I created this almost 1 year ago. It was called Open Roads, Open Metaverse, and it's an animation, so you can see it starts with just Welcome to the Oregon Coast, vintage poster, and then it kind of morphs into this version with this bus and lights, and there's, if you're not into the whole Web3 and NFT stuff, it's hard to explain some of the culture and references here, but it's like an inside joke. Not a joke, but inside deal for people that are in it. Thanks for joining, man. I appreciate it. Come back anytime, and if you have any questions, hit me up. Thanks for stopping in. Appreciate it. Okay, while we're here, I should just go double check on the streams. Okay, cool. Yeah, so one of the things that I've learned is that so YouTube seems to work great for streaming, but what doesn't work is Twitter. So when I'm streaming live on Twitter, let's see. Yeah, so like when I'm on Twitter, if people are in and see it and comment, I don't see anything. So I can't actually see if people are commenting. It's just really annoying. It would be beautiful if we could have it. But on Twitter, let's see, I just jumped on Twitter. I wonder if it's going to update my streaming total. Yeah. I can't see any details on that, but it's gone. Okay, back to this. And okay, so where were we? Oh yeah, luminescence. So what I want to do is I basically want to try to isolate out any part of the scene that's sort of, how do I put this? Like any part of this scene that's disturbed by like ripples or waves, I want to have the luminescence. So I'm going to experiment with something. And there's a node. Honestly, I'm not remembering what it is. It basically outputs things like the normals. Blender node for pointy geometry node. I think that might be it. Yeah, this is it. Okay, so there's this node in Blender called the geometry node, and what it should do is it's going to output of whatever object it's attached to a bunch of things like the normals, the backfacing, the pointiness. So what we can do is we can pump this into a color ramp. Okay. And when we do that, we should be able to get us a feeling for whether this node can actually predict some things about the water that we could use to do the bioluminescence. And this is really this is heavy on the computer. And I'll tell you why. It's kind of annoying. It's just the way that I did the waves. Okay, so see that? Kind of saw it for a second. It's really sensitive. But I saw at one point where it actually looked like it identified those ripples. The truth is we don't need this to be in. We really could just put this back into solid mode. I guess we can't actually. I lied about that. We do need to see the material or else we can't see the preview. Yeah, so I know I saw this come up, and I don't know if maybe it was just a certain spot. This is a little bit difficult to work with. I just want to see if maybe I can get a different one. I don't know if the normals would map or not here. No. Oh, maybe. Just got to find the spot. There we go. There we go. Okay, so this is what we want. So you can kind of see here, as I adjust this, anything that is almost like a flat, or it looks like it's also getting the other side. And that's the normals get very confusing in Blender because it's RGB value versus I'm mapping just a black and white. But this may end up working. It's not probably the best way to do it. But what you can see here is anywhere that's white is on this side. So it's either the normals are facing this way or it's the bump. But the black is flat part or the opposite side. But just to get an idea of this, like we can just use this as an experiment. And then what we can do is this mix shader comes out, and what we can do is we can just duplicate it, and we can bring in this shader here, and we can bring in a new shader, which is going to be an emission. Okay, so emission, and we'll make the color the same color as that, and we'll bring it in here. And we're going to use this as a mask just to tell Blender where to put that emission versus where to not. And with any luck. Okay, so let's see. right? So again, not exactly what we want, pretty close. Gives it at least a little bit of a contrast between them. And we'll see. I'm gonna mess around with that, but that's the basic idea. And if I bring up the emission, you've got the basic glow. So we can tune this, right, and we can figure out. This is the bioluminescence. It gives us, I guess, something to sort of tune to make it work in the way we want. And then we're going to eventually relight the bottom. We're going to move a bunch of stuff. We're gonna do a bunch to this water. But at least for now, this is at least a good place to sort of save it. I'm going to take probably a 15-minute break, use the washroom, grab a coffee, and then we'll be right back with the live stream. So if you have any questions, just shoot them to me in the chat while I'm gone. And yeah, Resolve, it'll be a static shot, 2 images. So it'll be a static render of this scene, a static render of the day scene, and then I'll animate. Not the individual scene won't animate, so I'm not going to do like, the guy casting, but I'm just going to have the 2 animate between each other, and I'll do that in DaVinci Resolve, which we'll do probably, we might be maybe a week away from getting that part done. Okay, I'm just going to pause for now, and I will be right back. All right, we're back. Sorry for the delay. Okay. I think this is okay. What I'm going to do is... So, yeah, unfortunately, this is a bit of a problem. So, what I need to do is I need to go into the water. Okay, so I'm going to change this to pond. So I changed, I changed the actual lighting for the day scene, which I didn't mean to do. So what I got to do is I'm going to have to duplicate this. Well, I don't have to duplicate the water. I just have to duplicate the... Okay, so I'm going to take a copy of the water. Okay. I'm going to call this water pond night. Okay. And I'm going to keep this one, and I'm going to call this water pond day. And then I'm going to change the texture of this water. Oh, I realize that's not going to work. Okay. Water. Okay, so this is material, water, pond, night. And then this one is going to be, okay. Yeah, I thought, for some reason I thought you could do it like a linked to copy. Okay, so this is water pond night. It's going to go in a collection called water night, and it's going to use its own texture called water pond night, and the day one, so we can just turn this off for now. We'll go back to the day one, turn it on. This is going to go in its own collection called water pond day. Okay. And this one is going to have its own texture, which is called water pond day. And this one is going to have no luminescence, no emission, no mix, and it's going to go right here. So this is the water pond day. That is fine. And then if I close this one and I go to water pond night, we should be okay. Yeah, water pond night, and it's got the emission and the whole thing. Although it's not working. Why is that? Why is it not working? Oh, okay. Because of that. Cool. Okay. So we should have water pond night. We should have day. We're in the night scene, so this should be fine. but we should be able to switch to our day scene. And when we bring this over, we should be able to, hopefully it brings this over. Why would it not bring this over? My God, I don't know. Why? Well, we might as well try this to link to scene, day vintage. Okay, let's see what happens. I feel like I'm on a train track, and it's like impending doom of me getting too cute with this whole deal, and running into some issue that I can't solve later on, because I don't know what happened to it. Not only can I not seem to bring over not only can I not seem to bring over the scene, I can't seem to get, I don't know what this rabbit is. Like, I can't seem to connect it. So, like, there's day. What I really want to do is I want to go, I don't know if this is going to be a problem or not. Maybe I just need to do it this way. Okay, so there's the day, looks good. And the night's there. Okay, well, at least I know I can manipulate this with the Blender file. That's kind of cool. That would be ideal. Like, if really, maybe this is the right way to do it. I just never thought to go through this. If I go into the Blender file, right, and I actually look at the individual scenes, you've got this kind of nice setup here, where really what I could probably do now is I could say, okay, like, I don't know how these are linked, if there's a way to see that, but really what I want to do now is in day, for example, I can get rid of night, right? So I can get rid of these, hopefully. Okay, and then in night, okay. Oh man, that's so funny. I'll get this figured out. This will be like another research topic, but yeah, I mean, it just was, I was hoping to be able to sort of manipulate where these were and not have them delete, but there's probably like a linking situation, and I probably just need to, I'm sure there's a way to do this in basically instancing stuff and saying what to do, but that's not going to be something I want to try to tackle right now. What I would like to tackle, though, is just playing a little bit now with the lighting underneath the water. So I'm in the night scene. We'll go back to the view layer, and we'll go underwater, and this is another example, right? So we're going to rename this to light area under water day. Okay, so this is the day lighting for the underwater. And what I want to do is, let's add this to a new collection. Let's call this underwater day. So these are all the things that are going to change between the day and the night. Okay, And what I want to do is duplicate this collection, and I want to change this to underwater night, and I want to change this to underwater night, and I want to double check that these are independent. I guess there's no way to know unless I just change it. So, for example, this is the night one. Okay, so this is night, and this is day, so we're fine. Okay, so the day we basically want to disable for now, and we're going to keep this at night, and this is just where we can just play around a little bit with, we want this. You know, whether we want like kind of the similar, like, I think my gut's saying that we probably want to do like a similar lighting, just to kind of see, right, if you go white, you get a lot more of the green coming through, which I think kind of clashes a little bit. Versus if I get kind of a more aqua, we get something that starts to feel a little bit more like, you know, here's like a blue. This to me feels better because what we're going to do is we're going to put the fish in the day, which I think is this guy. We're going to just put all the fish stuff in here. So it's going to go away. Again, I don't know what the heck is what. This kind of drives me nuts. I'll have to clean this all up after. Okay. But basically, I'm trying to get this fish out of here. Truthfully, I don't know what happened. I think our lure's gone. Oh man, this is so messy. Kind of drives me nuts. Like, I don't know what happened to the lure, for example. It's like somehow it's just somehow, sorry, I deleted it. Oh, I think I know how. Ugh. Yeah, I'm worried that that's annoying. I may have never renamed it properly. This is a lesson. So it would have been a cube, and then I changed it, but I don't know if there's a bobber. Yeah, it's bobber main. I don't know what happened with that. There it is. Weird. I don't know what happened. Okay, so where did that go? This is where it gets really... coming as a duplicate, which is odd. Just putting this all on camping for now. Okay. Where were we? I was trying to get rid of this freaking fish. Let's see. That's the eyes. I'd like to just, honestly, I'd like to get rid of all the armature. I wonder if I could just... Okay, we're on to something. Come on. Yes, okay. If you're careful, because like I don't know that these are connected to be necessarily to the fish. But the fish is basically, the fish is now separate, which is nice. So this fish has got eyes and this, but I don't know about the rest of the stuff, like the shoulders, all these things. If it probably just never deleted it. I just also could be from this guy, and I don't want to. Okay. It's all right. It could be from one of these two. It could be, yeah, I just have to be careful. I don't want to go too crazy. Okay, let's go back to that fish. So okay, so underwater we had a fish. Okay, so the fish is going to go underwater. Okay, and the fish is going to go underwater during the day. That's really all I wanted to do, hoping that, you know, this, 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 and this. Oh, shoot. Should probably start deleting stuff. All right. Maybe I'm missing something, but I feel like this is tent. Yeah, hoping. I don't know why that refuses. to go there. Very odd. It's like it's already there. Oh, man. All right. The point was I was trying to get rid of that. It's like, why these? Why these fish eyes? Why? And what the heck is going on here? Something looks wrong about that reflection, but I think it's that. Yeah, I don't know what to do with the fishes, to be honest. It's got like this duplicate copy, which the only thing I can think of is like, maybe that did it. Fish eyes is there. Okay. Yeah, I mean, look, I get it. It's just the complexity of it for Blender is just, it's kind of driving me crazy. So basically I want to turn off the fish. It's there. All right, so anything that is underwater day, which for now is just the fish, is there. And then at night, there's this area light. So there's a fish and a light, right? And now what I want to do is I'm going to replace the fish with something else. So I have an idea here. Sorry, I went on that tangent. So the idea is like, this dude is fishing for something art-wise that is more recent than my last meme cards, like what's happened in the last year. So this is where I really, was thinking what would look cool underneath. And the first thing that popped to mind is the Sam Spratt skull. And I don't think I want to do this on this stream right now, because I want to make sure that, okay, I want to make sure that yeah, I really want to make sure that this hasn't been done before, okay? So these are the skulls of Lucy. This is a collection that it's really cool, kind of. Sam is a painter, digital artist, and he basically, anyone who made an offer on his original series, he offered this skull, and they became kind of profile pics and highly, highly valuable. And they're all different, but they're basically the same 3D model. Shout out to Ben Scar. I think this is the one that he won playing the Monument game. Yeah, super cool. So I want to use a 3D model of one of these. And I can definitely do it. This is not my specialty, but it would be pretty straightforward to get one of these and sort of, either model it myself or just find an asset that's close. But I was hoping that someone else had done it, so I could sort of ask them if I could use it. The other one that I really liked is he just completed this thing called the Monument game, and there's this like mask that players had that were playing in the game. Let me see if I can find it. I think it's this ticket. It's not popping in. I don't know why that links to her Twitter account. Yeah, it's basically this mask here. And This, okay, so this is really it. This is the one that he's used for all the players, and this is kind of, I think, the one that felt right, and it would be a pretty cool little 3D model. I'm just sorry, I'm just thinking a little bit about it in terms of how I could model it. I'd like to dedicate like a specific time to do this. If I could get a cool shot of it, I would definitely. It's my post. Nobody replied. So shame. I'm so tempted to just do it. Split it in half. Mirror it. Get the shape. Add an extrude up. Bevel it. Extrude again. Let me think what else on my list. I'm getting close to just doing it. This is good enough for now. Hey, how come our underwater day? Yeah, the fish is gone. Okay, let me go. So this is, yeah, the underwater night lighting is. Kind of this. The luminescence is not very good, but it's okay for now. The other option is, so I really have three, I just kind of have like three tributes, I think. I'll just add them. So model, add skull of Lucy. It would be the mask. I don't know if he calls it the mask of Lucy. The other one would be model, add the Rubin light streak. Okay. Add model the Ryan Talbot balloons. Those were the three that popped into my head. Oh, actually, this is the other one. Add model the Jamie or the Lord Jamie Shill Pepe. So I've got four here that's popping. That's popping out to me, and you know, maybe I'll think of some more as I go. The Sam Spratt Lucy mask. Okay, so there's four that are popping in, and I'll just sort of, let's just bring them into the scene here and organize them, and then we'll think through a plan. So this will be the tribute. Okay, so the skull of Lucy or the Mask of Lucy is what I'm leaning towards. And what I want to do is I'll just bring that in and just drop it over here on the scene. Okay. The Reuben Wu is probably pretty straightforward. I'll show you the reference that I'm thinking. I think his website. Yeah. So it's this kind of light painting. There was one in particular. I think it was this one. Yeah. So it's this style, which is, I think, is original, that I really wanted to pay tribute to. Good job, Ruben, on having a website that you can't copy. Smart man. I swear I'm not, don't worry, I'm not. This is just for reference. Don't kill me, Ruben. Okay, so this is the Reuben Rue. And I'll get another reference here because I think this one is cool. This one's a good one. This will be the easiest of them to do. So maybe I'll do that one first. Okay. So we got the two Reuben Woos side by side. This is what's going to go on in the background. Then we've got the Sam Spratt. Okay. And I haven't decided yet, so let's just, while we're here, Sam Spratt, Skull of Lucy. Yeah, let's just grab like a couple of these. And I just grabbed like maybe another one. There's one I want in particular, which is probably one of the harder ones to model, but my buddy Ben, I'd like to, if I'm going to do one of these, I'd like to do his. It'd be really interesting to get that texture. I know a person who would be really good at doing this. Maybe I should talk to him and see if he's interested. A bit of a cutoff at the top, but actually let's get a proper. I think Super Rare must have an art weave link. Yeah. Let's grab this. Okay, that's a little better. Okay, so here's our Lucy skulls, and then the last one is well, the second last one is, this is Ryan Talbot. So Ryan is he's awesome 3D artist. I really look up to what he does, his animations, all of his work, and he's got like a really cool story behind it with this this little character. It's called, it's not God, it's the name is the tip of my tongue. Lily. But there's one piece that I really like. It's this one. Yeah. Okay, look at that. Even the background. Man, I love this animation so much. If I could afford 12 ETH, that's crazy. That's amazing. This is such a cool, it's such a cool piece. I'm going to try to grab a screenshot because, yeah, I don't need this overlay. God. Okay, this is what I wanted right here. Okay. Now I don't, the question is like, I could ask Ryan for the 3D model for this. I might just ask him what he thinks, right? Like, I want to include this, and I will model this if I have to. No issue. Like, it'll take me a little time, but I can get it. I don't know if he used, a prefab asset, if he modeled this himself. Who knows? My guess is these backgrounds are probably not, like, are probably assets. But I really, really love this. And I definitely want to use these in the scene. There's, like, no doubt about it. But I'd have to find out. So I either would model these, or if he has the asset he prefers. So I just might ask him what he prefers and say, like, hey, I want to do this as a tribute. You can tell me, like, I'll model it myself, or you can. Man, they're so cool. They're so cool. Yeah, I'll let him decide. Also, I may do the same with Ruben. I don't like the Ruben one is his art is really about the scene and the lighting. So I don't, creating this sort of, it's pretty straightforward. They wouldn't ask him for an asset. This is photography. This is light painting. And then the last one is what was also on the side. Oh, the Pepe. Okay, so the Pepe I have. Why don't we bring the Pepe in now? People are like watching that don't know Web3 are like, what? What do you mean the Pepe? Okay, so our guy fishing is going to be a frog. There's no other way to put it. Cool. So we're going to do that one because that's a rigging exercise too, and it might help me slightly kind of figure out how to clean up some of this. So let's save this guy. And I'm going to import. I think I hopefully have it organized. He has given me some Pepe. So I'm going to bring in both of these. I don't know actually the third, so I'm going to bring in 3 of these and just see what they are. Oh, it's so great. It's so great. Oh my god, it's so great. Okay, so this is, I think, the one this is, I think, the one. I don't remember if this one. Yeah, I think this was a Sketchfab one that I found, and I think this is his that he gave me. But this is the one that I want. And it's not, unfortunately, it's not, oh, maybe it is rigged. Yeah, so it is rigged a bit. It's kind of rigged. It may not be, actually. Yeah, this is rigged. It's just there's no control points. Okay, let me think through this. Oh, interesting. There's like this whole thing in the sky. I like to kind of get rid of all this and just sort of do this again. I might open this up in another file just to kind of see what's actually happening. So let's Let's just do a brand new file. We already saved that. Okay. Let's just see what he. Actually, I'm gonna just double check. Give me a second here. I'll do this off stream, but I wanted to see if I could find what he, just to be 100% sure what he sent me. Okay, so transfer expired, which is fine. I have it. I just don't know which one be sure which one it was. So let's grab. Pretty sure it was this one or this one. Let's bring in this one for a second. That's not what I wanted. Let's bring in this one for a second. This one is Mr. I don't know if this is the one he sent me. I should have organized this better. No, I feel like it was this one. And he's got some animation on it. I don't know if there's a way to... Maybe this is all the animation is. Would like to use this one. This one, though, is actually... I can't remember where this one is from. This one's actually kind of interesting with the suit. But there's no texture attached to it. I don't know what that is. Okay, so let's bring in the first one. Import GLB back to active Cathedral source. I think this would be his. You know, this one is solid. Other than, I mean, I'd really love to use his over anything else. I just would have to figure out if I could get the fishing rod right, like replace the fishing rod. So I'm just gonna quickly experiment with the posing and just see what's possible. So this has animation, right? So I think that's what we were looking at, right? It's just pretty simple. I think that's what it is. It's probably just all the exporting and stuff going on. It's really the eyes. It's this eye. So I'm just going to clean this up personally, just so I can have this. Pepe eye left. Pepe eye right. This is Pepe body. This is Pepe mask. And I think that this is probably using like Cinema 3D or something. I don't need the animation. I'm guessing that that's probably... Oh. Yeah, okay. I don't want to get rid of it totally. Yeah, that's my guess, is that like this was subdivision surface is what that is. I don't think I need any of this. I think this is really all I need. Cool. So this is like, this makes sense to me. Armature, the pose, the animation. So, you know, really what I would want is just to probably clean up the animation so that it's yeah. Okay, let's just go through this and see. So if we go into pose mode, I just want to see what kind of capabilities we have with this. So we can move his arm up and down, a little bit of tilting, which is good. We can move the shoulder, we can move this shoulder, and we can move that, which, there's his head. Okay, so I think we can probably get this pretty close. Yeah, we can move the legs. So it's really all we're trying to do is just pose him in the same way that the fisherman is, which really just needs this hand, honestly, just up. So we're not going to pose it here. We'll keep it in this neutral pose. And then, just to make my life a little easier, I'll save this file in my assets under asset library, and I'll just do this for the future for Pepe's. And then I'll just say Pepe, Lord Jamie show. Save that. And then I'll take this one and I'll export it as a GLB, and I'll put it into models. So I've got it there. And then I'll close this. I'll open up Blender. Okay. And I'm just going to import, you know, this into my current scene. Okay. So we're basically replacing him, and we want to pose it as close as we can to this setup. This is like a Mixamo rig, and I'm like, for what that was, we don't, you know, it'd be nice to have this whole rigging. I'm sure I could bring it in, and that might be, if this doesn't pose properly, I might bring it into Mixamo and like see if I can actually pose it and all that stuff. Would be kind of fun. But for now, we're gonna import a GLB, and we're gonna go back to my assets, models. I'm going to grab this one and see, like, you know, again, the reason why this happens is, you know, if you're exporting a model for different programs, and there's all sorts of ways I'm sure you're supposed to do it, but I just find when I import these things, I just, like, this is so clean and easy for me, because he's chilling here and everything's sort of linked into this armature. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the fisherman. We're going to basically select him. This is, we want kind of the high level, so here, and we're going to bring the cursor to selected. Okay, so the cursor, 3D cursor should be here. It's probably just hidden. Yeah, well, it's okay. It's at the bottom. That's fine. And now we're going to go back to the Pepe, and we're going to bring it to here. And there it is. It's just the size is off, which is no big deal. So we're going to bring it up to the same height. We're going to rotate it around, and we're just going to match it. It's really all we're doing. We're just kind of matching as closely as we can. The scene. I don't think it's going to be too crazy to do. Okay, so we don't need the mask. Although I think it would be cool. Yeah, I think it would be cool to put the mask down here. Shout out to Jamie. Okay. Another thing, by the way, that I'd love to add to my list is resetting like the pivot, like not the pivot points, the like the XYZ axis for these things. So like I just noticed, well, I'm on local, that's probably why. Yeah, let me see if that fixes my issue. Yeah, I think that probably does it. I just wanted to rotate the mask like that. That's cool. Just kind of sitting against there. Okay, cool. So let's bring the Pepe into the same scene as the fisherman, because we just want to be switching between the two. Okay, so this is the fisherman, right? And actually, we'll do it this way. So this is going to be the fisherman, and we're going to go M, new collection, fisherman, day, man. Just disaster. Just disaster. Why that doesn't actually put this in the right place. I don't get it. Yeah, now we got disaster. It's so frustrating. It just, honestly, just silliness. I don't know why it's so insistent on that. We're gonna have to pull out the, because look, we want to pull out the fishing rod actually. So the fishing rod is probably connected to him. I guess we could just duplicate it. Yeah, let's duplicate it because we might change the fishing rod. Okay, so fine, and then we want to do this, and this is going to be fisherman night Pepe. And again, it does this beautiful thing where it just decides. Okay, at least we have it. So off, on, off. I don't know why that's not there. Jeez. Like, my brain sometimes doesn't comprehend what's going on. Like, that should close. I don't know what else to say. Like, that should, if I turn that off, it should close. It should get rid of the whole Pepe. I don't get it. Oh, it's because it did all this again. Frick. Okay, man, this is so annoying. Okay, so we've got both, and basically the task here is just to make this dude, it's just to make him match this guy as closely as we can. So his head's tilted a little bit this way. think the size is probably close to right. Make sure the feet are on the ground. I realize this is actually paired. So let's get rid of that. Okay. Looks pretty good. So what I'm just going to do is we're going to pose it, and we're just going to see yeah, we're just going to see how close we can get. You just have to be careful not to not to make it look wrong. I've mentioned this before, but posing is annoying in the sense that I sometimes forget about the keyframing. I know, again, it's just like I know I can go in and turn that off, but I just... And this doesn't have to be perfect, but I just wanted to get it as close as I can to the original character. Alright, so now let's see, what do we have? In terms of, do we have any kind of shoulder rotation? No. So this is where I probably messed up. This is where I probably messed up because I don't think there's any under... Just looking for a way to sort of minimize this and see the posing a little bit more. So there's shoulders here, but I don't think there's any posing bones inside. Maybe there is. Oh, okay. Here we go. That's all I wanted. All right. So we wanted to twist. Like we wanted to put the knees out. We don't want to change. Ideally want to just do the rotation. Let's see if the parenting, it's just the head. What we want to do is just bring it slightly this way, and then the head slightly this way. It's super creepy, right? And then we want to lean, if we can, lean the whole body back. A little too much. Okay, so I'm just looking like where the pivot points are. Yeah. So X, this should bring him back a little bit. And then a little bit this way. All right. And then, okay, so that's looking pretty good. And then now we can do with the hands, we can see with the rotating, right? So let's try to rotate it as much as we can, right? It's getting a little messy, but okay. So it's getting there. Just this hand, I think, needs to go at the shoulder, needs to go out a bit. Just it's like a little tight. Yeah, a little bit out that way. And then this hand should come back in. Okay, so I don't know how many times in my life I'm going to get burned by this. But when you have like any kind of an animation, okay, I think this is all right. I guess I lost some of that. I just like what I really want is just to get rid of the animation, and I don't know. Honestly, just don't know enough about it. Like if I can get rid of all the keyframes, obviously, then it will, maybe work. But let's go back to pose mode. Okay. My stubbornness is getting the best of me here. Hey, Spider Sniper, I'm sorry. I got pretty heads down there and I probably missed that. Appreciate you. It's going well. I'm stubbornly avoiding a situation which is to really truly understand from an armature standpoint how to remove an existing animation but maintain the current pose of that animation. So basically lock that animation in to the current scene and then adjust it, and then just basically have a single keyframe the entire time. And I just sometimes hesitate on the stream to do this. Removing animation from pose armature blender. You know, don't want to go too far into you know, how to go too far into this stuff. Yeah, like I'm trying to basically yeah. Okay, so like basically what I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to take this Pepe and match the posing to the fisherman, and I know how to do that. It's just that it's actually animated, and both are animated, and I'm stuck on frame 18, which is fine. It's just a still render, but this is really not the right way to do it. It should be probably on frame 1, and then I should just have all of the animation removed from this. But it's just because we're live streaming, I don't want to go through that process. So I've like a couple times now been like, oh yeah, I like posed it, and then forgotten to keyframe it, like to set the keyframe. And then what ends up happening is you end up losing the animation. So I'll do the right arm and I'll just remember to do this again. You know, the problem also is that ideally the character is like the proper size, which I feel like it is. It's just the shoulders are a little lower. So maybe I just sort of try to match the shoulders, because the head is bigger, obviously. So that's fine. But it's the shoulder joint that really makes a difference. And then just making sure that the character's on the ground is fine. And yeah, I mean, I know I can do this. It's just annoying to do it and then screw it up. So we'll start with the upper body. And this is the armature here. And for example, I'll just tilt it slightly. I'll tilt it back slightly as well, just so it kind of all matches. Sort of got that lean, and then we'll tilt it this way. So that's, you know, that's half the battle right there, because now the shoulders kind of line up. You can see it from the back. It's here. The hips are not bad. They are going to go forward at some point. I don't know if that will do it. I think that's just like the pivot point for the whole body. Oh, I just did it again. I literally just did it again. My brain. Ooh. just trying to not frustrate myself here. You know, like technically, I'm sure there's also a way to match the pose of this character with the other one, and probably even apply the animation. If it was rigged similar, maybe I brought it all into Mixamo and just rigged it exactly the same. And sometimes, like this is part of my challenge as an artist. I'm learning so many things as I go that if I was not streaming, I might spend the next day or two learning, like relearning. I've done some of it, but just like maybe I have a basic knowledge, relearning armature and animation. And then, yeah, of course, like I learn a lot, I get better, but I also end up not getting work done. So it's sort of a combination of like, how much do I want to dive into something, at any particular time, versus, versus just getting the work done that I'm doing and then coming back to these things later. This is sort of a constant challenge for me. I'm going to try this again. I'm just going to like try to be consistent with what I'm doing. So I know I'm leaning him back and I know I'm leaning him sideways. And the goal is to get the shoulders as close as I can to this scene. We'll tilt the head down after. Okay. So now I think just locking in the keyframes on 18 is what I'm doing. And like, I don't know if it matters. Like here's, for example, I mean, I could go and remove all of these keyframes, but I actually don't know. Maybe it's worth doing. No, this is gonna be a problem. Let's just stay here. Okay, so we know we got that keyframe done. And now we want the head to rotate. So their head's gonna kind of come down a little bit forward, kind of match. No, we don't want to move it. Kind of match this guy as close as possible. Okay, and we're going to keyframe that. Okay, cool. All right, so let's do the shoulders now. So this shoulder joint, we want to bring, just back a little bit, kind of in, just the way that your shoulder would rotate to start. Kind of, yeah, like that. And then this joint is going to kind of rotate probably pretty good actually. And then this one needs to rotate in and down. Maybe this one needs to come in a little bit more. This one needs to come in here. And now we've got arms. Now, if you don't keyframe all of them, or at least those three, we lose it when we change the pose. So this is, I guess, be my process for now. And now you can see we've got a little bit more control over the hand, so we can, kind of adjust it. And we'll do the fingers last, right? But basically, we're getting, the hand pretty close, and then we're in. Okay. Now let's get this one. So this shoulder is going to go both back, up, something like that. This makes sense. And then this one is going to go over and in and down and in. And unfortunately, this, shoulders are a little bit shorter, but I think we can just kind of compensate by, just kind of compensate by keeping that like that. This makes sense. And then for this one, we're going to rotate it in and down, in this way. There we go. And then, this again, it's just sort of adjusting as much as I can to kind of just match. I'm trying to as much as I can without extending the shoulders, match. What we have for this dude. I'm doing a great job here. He's just got massive hands. He's got just massive hands but short arms. So he's a frog. Makes sense, right? And again, we're not trying to get this one perfect because we're going to wrap the hands around, but we're trying to get it so that it will actually make sense. I don't know how well we'll be able to wrap these hands around this thing, but we're going to try. Okay, I think this is close enough for now, so we're going to do, again, all keyframes and just get that so that this stays the same. And I don't want to do it yet, but I actually have to at some point just check the pose. So this one is rotating, see, it rotates the entire body. So now with the legs, though, we can rotate the legs a little bit out, right? So like this leg kind of follows, rotate this back down. And then we can rotate the foot to sort of land right where this one is. And we can go, just like rotate this back a little bit. Rotate this here. Okay, cool. I don't know if I actually moved that on purpose. They should, the ball joint should always kind of be like connected together. That's kind of how it works, like an actual muscle would, or actual bone structure would. I just sometimes accidentally rotate. Okay, so this one, again, rotate forward, rotate backwards, rotate. Oh, see, I did that. Rotate this way, rotate out a bit. That's not bad. This looks pretty good. And now we're going to do all again, and we're going to keyframe them, and we're going to see if it works. So if I go to object mode, yeah, now it's actually set. And if I want to get rid of the fisherman, you can now see our Pepe is, for the most part, in a pretty similar pose to this guy. Not perfect, but legs are kind of skinny, so but I feel like it's pretty good. Okay, so now let's work on the hands. So what we want to do here now is instead of bringing the fisherman back, we want to actually grab the fishing rod, and we're going to duplicate it. Okay, and we're going to bring it into here. Bring this back. And we're going to no. What we want to do is we want to bring it into here. I think it's this one first, and then we want to parent it, keeping maybe it's the other way. Okay, I think that works. So just to be, oh no, that's not what we wanted. We don't want that. I don't know why it's not letting me parent. It's fine, it's just... Okay, the fishing rod we don't want to move, right? So now the question is, can we get this guy to hold the fishing rod in any kind of a reasonable way, which is going to be a bit of a pain. So let's do the bottom one first, because I think it's going to be easier. So the way this hand works, okay, so we have a little bit easier to see this now. So what we want is the hand to kind of go out, so it's not clipping the rod ideally. And then we want to see if we can bring all of these start to curve in. And this is, again, just like if you think of your hand, you're basically just, what is the limitation of your hand, right? Like, you can't really move it. I can't move mine past like 90. So you really don't want the actual fingers at that joint to move past 90 either. So now it's just a balance of like, where is the hand? Is it rotated here? We want it as close as we can without clipping, right? So if we go like this and sort of look, it's like just clipping a little bit. That's not bad. And then we now have, if you look at the hands, we have a little bit more room to sort of rotate these in. The thumb, we're going to get out of the way actually now. So the thumb joint can rotate this way. Okay. And if we take a peek on this side, we can see where would your thumb be. If you were holding this, your thumb would kind of just, like your hand would go here, and your thumb would just sort of stretch around this. So what we would want to do is rotate it in, rotate it this way, make sure that it doesn't totally mess up, and then rotate it in this way, and just sort of continue to rotate the thumb until it kind of feels like it's matching. This thing has got long fingers. Yeah. It's obviously tough to sort of see this and know exactly, but it's this far away. It's not like, this isn't like critical stuff, but it's just nice to have it, for close-ups and stuff. So now, golf club grip. if I was holding a fishing rod, my thumb would kind of tuck under, my thumb would kind of tuck underneath my fingers. And if anything, it would kind of go down. And now, you know, you kind of have to just sort of decide how much you care about clipping and the angles. But I'd say something like that's like pretty good. So now we should be able to grab all the hand again and just continue to rotate it. So we're going to go as far as we can here. I think it's probably here. And now we can grab this set and we can start to rotate those ones this way, right? So we start to rotate these in. And then now we would want to probably grab this one, this one, and start to rotate it down a little bit. So it's kind of covering the thumb. And then now I'll just rotate these individually, right? So like the further this goes down, the more they rotate. This is about as much time as I would ever imagine spending on a cartoon frog. So interesting, I don't know if I did this, but that joint is off pretty far. You can see it. Maybe I did it, but you can see it in the mesh. So again, I may have just done this because I may have just hit the wrong button. But generally, I mean, you can, I don't think you can actually set the location, but if you want this to look like, see how the skin now is smooth? Ideally, these joints are all overlapped. So if they get out of overlap, it's because you've moved them instead of rotated them. That's just probably like a force of habit, forgetting when I'm moving stuff around. Doing it. So, oh, yeah. So like that thumb, is that the thumb one? Yeah. So this is not too bad. Just trying to get like a good view of, yeah, the hand. So you can just kind of keep rotating. And as long as there's not, you know, as long as you don't look at it, like this is close, like 45-degree angle. But also like this, yeah, and this is pretty good. So now remember, keyframe, and now we go back to object, and now we've got, I think, pretty reasonable. Maybe the only thing that is a little bit off is this finger. So we can just keep rotating this around. I don't think that doesn't do anything. Okay. Again, keyframe all, back to the pose. Okay, now this one's going to be a little bit harder. So we're going to go back into pose mode, and we're got to get the wrist here rotated far enough out. I think that's probably pretty good. And then maybe it needs to rotate here. And then this one needs to rotate kind of in and out. Okay. Let's try it. I think this is going to work. It's just, this might be a little tedious. So we're going to get all these bones here, and we're going to start rotating them. In, down, just kind of basic. Hand. Okay, cool. And then we'll grab this set. And we'll rotate, continue to rotate it down. Oh, okay, I kind of see what I was doing. So when you're rotating all of them, it's using the pivot point of all of them together. So it's pulling, it's pulling some of these joints out. Whatever, right? It's just as long as these are somewhat crossed over, you're gonna get I could do all these individually if I want, right? So there's the finger. Actually, we'll do the thumb again first. So the thumb here, I'm just going with my thumb here is going to go, this whole thing is going to rotate over. Maybe even this one. Super hard to see this. Again, same as the other one. It's going to kind of go down. Yeah, something like this. And then, the clipping issue notwithstanding, there's going to be some clipping because when you push your finger in, we're not deforming the finger enough to show that, but basically they're overlapping. Again, just trying to do as realistic as possible, like nothing more than probably like a 90-degree angle. Keeping it as close to what I think a hand would do as I can. Yeah, and I mean, if you're doing this, it's pretty obvious when you do something that just doesn't, isn't physically possible. The mesh will fully deform, and just it'll look wrong, right? Like it'll look off in your eye. Okay, so let's go. And by the way, there's here. Let me just save this first. There's lots of ways, right? Like I think when you go into posing, sometimes you have layers. You can get bone groups, and you can say like, okay, let's get all the fingers, and there's lots of ways to do this, especially if you are, especially if you're, used to animation. Spider Sniper. So I specialize in making 3D landscape recreations from real world locations. So this scene that I'm working on right now is actually based in Sedona, Arizona. So I'll show you this really quick. I'll do a little summary. It's this location here, and it's called Cathedral Rock. I've been there a couple times in person. My background's photography and video, so I'm fairly new to 3D, like a couple years in. And what I typically try to do is recreate these scenes, and I do that by getting a bunch of scientific data like radar and LiDAR from space and airplanes, and I do photogrammetry scans, and I do texture, macro images, and reference images, and I pull it all together, and I recreate it in 3D. So this is the scene that I've already made. It's already completed. It's available as an NFT on Super Rare. And this scene is a digital reconstruction of this location in Arizona, in Sedona. And what's unique about this location is it looks like, it's kind of a camera sitting in a pond. But it's actually right here. It's actually this little area of the landscape, it's a puddle. It's basically just a little piece of rock that dips down. And when there's rain in Sedona, which is not often, you get a puddle. And if you bring your camera down low and you put your camera in here, you actually can take a photo that looks like you're taking a photo of a lake. This is the reference photo I took right here. So this is an actual photograph that I took from that location. And then you can see here is the final render, which is a replica. What is somewhat, I guess, unique about my work is that I usually work pretty hard to make the scene as like actually realistic as possible when it comes to camera, or when it comes to the landscape and the scale and all those things. So if you look here and I bring this into rendered view, and just for fun, let's save this. And let's switch this over to the day mode. With any luck, pending probably a few little things like this guy not needing to be here, and going back to camera A and get rid of the camping and the balloons. So if you actually look at this right here, this is the original render, right? 1920 by 1080. 1080. So this is the original render that I made and has already been sold. You can see it here. All it's happened is it's been rendered out with 4,000 samples, and then noise reduction, and then brought into Lightroom Photoshop, just sort of add a bit of color gradient or color grading, and this is it. So now what I'm doing is a derivative of that piece of art from a new camera location on the scene, different composition. But it's a replica. It's like a follow-up to another piece of work that I did almost 1 year ago today, and I'll show you that. It's I'm called a meme card. Well, it's easier to get it from mine. And this was a similar process I took from a different location. This one was in Oregon. And what I did was I created this card, whereas on one side there's this sort of like vintage, scene, welcome to the Oregon coast, and then everything glitches halfway through and moves into this night scene, which is welcome to the open metaverse with the bus and the sun and all that stuff. That scene that you're just seeing on screen now is based on another 3D render that I made, which is this one over here. So you can see that scene turned into that meme card, which is shot from the opposite location. And now I'm taking this scene and I'm turning it to this new meme card, which is this guy here. And all we got to do now to bring this scene into the one that I'm currently working on is we're going to change this to 2160 by 1700, which should be like an Instagram crop. Maybe I got that wrong. It should be 1080 times 2 by 1350. Oh, it's 2700. That's why. There you go. Instagram crop. Now we can bring in the camping setup, which is this dude right here, camping. And we bring in the balloons. Yeah, so Spider Sniper, man, I love it. I love that you downloaded Blender. It's like, first of all, free open source software. There's just almost nothing like it, with the development team and like all the support for free software is unreal. So Blender is just like an awesome place to start. I'll show you kind of a cool Easter egg, which is the very first thing I did in Blender, which I'm going to recommend you do. And if you do it, like, I think my social media links are on here, but you can find me on Twitter and Instagram. You can message me here. follow me, and I'll follow you back, and I'll find you. If you ever stream it or you want to share, you want help, let me know. But I modeled this donut, and if you look down here, it's actually in my scene. So right here, this donut, I actually modeled this donut in Blender using this Blender tutorial. It's kind of a famous one. Blender, there's me. It's this one here, the original. This one. Now, this one, sorry, I don't know how to use the controls. They jumped. Yeah, this tutorial is old. It's can't remember when he made this. 4 years ago. I would almost still use this tutorial first. I found because it uses like particles instead of, it's just, I think it's I would do this one and run through this tutorial and make this donut. It might take you a week, a couple hours a night or an hour a night, but when you're done this, you're going to have something that you're going to be really proud of. And if you take a look on my scene, this is my donut, the blue icing, and now as kind of an Easter egg, I'm pretty pumped about it. Like, to be able to, and this is like one of the things I love about 3D, is to be able to make something and save it as an asset, and then in a future scene be like, aha, I'm going to use that in here. Is really powerful with 3D. So do this donut tutorial. You'll learn lighting, you'll learn animation, you'll learn composition. You'll learn, save that. Yeah, you'll learn lighting, you'll learn composition, you'll learn how to render the different render engines, you'll learn how to do particles, you'll learn how to do materials, how to sculpt. I mean, it's a perfect tutorial. And that's why it's kind of famous. People talk about the Blender tutorial, the donut tutorial. So do that. Watch, I'm doing some weird stuff. But I clip out my favorite, scenes, like things that are interesting. I put them on Twitch. I also stream live on YouTube right now, on Facebook and Twitter. And this is just me kind of working and using streaming as accountability. I just kind of have a plan, share my work, keep going, and learn as I go. So what I'm working on right now at this moment is, if you see this scene, this is the day version. And again, camera angle is going to flip to my actual camera. So here's the day version that I'm working on, which is not quite done, but is getting close. And then I'm currently working on the night version, which is going to have the same composition, the same background, the same kind of everything, but everything's going to kind of switch out to like a more vibey nighttime mode, just like that animation that I showed you. So I switch my scene to night, and I've been working on this on the stream, just sort of how to hide things, to show things, just generally how to organize a file. But here's the night scene, and if I switch the camera angle again, you see we got this green frog here doing a little fishing. We've got like this little mast, we've got the light, we've got the tent, we've got the bus, we got this dude sitting on top. There's all sorts of like little Easter eggs and cool stuff if you're in Web3 and you kind of understand this world. Yeah. And, give me, if you're a Twitch streamer, give me some advice, because, again, I know Twitch is for video games. I know people do some development stuff in here. I don't know, like, if I'm doing this right. People drop in on YouTube, they drop it on Twitch. I try to kind of have all of the chats up and running to multi-stream. I don't know if it's the right thing to do, but I'm started out, and yeah, a lot of people don't know what I'm doing. But if you ask a question, I'll stop what I'm doing and I'll jump in, and I'll answer the questions. I'll do what I can, but I am like very, very new to streaming, so I don't know if I can do it here. We'll try to follow. Yeah, I don't know if I can do it here or not. Spider Sniper 102, but I'll follow you. I'll watch your streams, and I'm learning all of the streaming stuff. So if I'm doing anything wrong, or if you think, hey, like you should try this or try that, just don't be afraid to tell me. I won't take offense to it. I truly am a novice when it comes to streaming. But where you came in was I'm posing this character, and there's like a bunch of stuff here that I would say like I'm okay at. I understand, I have a basic knowledge, but I'm definitely not like an expert. So you can't take anything I say as like this is the exact way to do it or this is proper. Just it's my way of doing it. And I hope that as people watch, they will chime in and say you're doing it wrong. Okay, so my streaming questions in no particular order. On Twitch, I think I have a pretty good idea. I think I know how to kind of get it up and running. I definitely don't know if there's any like any techniques I should be doing to make sure the stream is like easy to find for people. Again, I'm doing Blender and actually do Unreal Engine in the afternoon, and some Fortnite stuff. So Unreal Engine for Fortnite, but just like making sure things are set up properly so people see it. I don't know if there's any like tricks to the titling and the tagging and the categories. That's kind of my Twitch questions, or if there's anything I could be doing to kind of find an audience that would be interested in this, because obviously it's people that are new to Blender, Unreal Engine, photography, not people that are necessarily playing video games, unless I'm streaming the Fortnite stuff, which is I'm making a 3D world, a 3D island in Fortnite based on this actual location. I do that in the afternoon. As a streamer for new people, just do you, then work your way up. Yeah, that's it. No, I appreciate that. That's kind of how I've thought about it. Like, it's just stream and do my thing. And, you know, when people figure it out or find out, and they'll join. If they don't, I just keep going. So that's good advice. And then, you know, I do have some questions because like I'm streaming on Twitter and Twitch, or Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook, which I did that because like I don't have a big audience, but I have more people on Twitter. Not really more on Facebook. I've got a few people on Facebook, but yeah, I don't know if it hurts your stream at all to be doing multiple streaming to different platforms, or if it matters in terms of like engagement on YouTube. Right now I don't care. I just want to keep doing it. And obviously the key for me is like to be able to pull out content, like little clips and stuff that I can actually use. So it might hurt engagement. If it does, maybe I'll limit my streaming on YouTube, let's say. I imagine Twitch doesn't matter. Like I got to stream somewhere, and I want to have that file saved on the internet so I can clip it and share stuff out. But yeah, I don't know if there's something else that I should be thinking about there. That's it. I mean, I don't know if there's anything else you think of. But generally, I'm just kind of plugging away. Huh. So this is kind of funny. I may be actually be able to pull this off. If I get this actual, I should have thought about this a little bit before, but actually I think if I actually get this done right, I can use the clothing from the other character. Yeah, so hey, tell me this, Spider Sniper, like I stream on Twitter. I have a good audience on Twitter. I think I have 10,000 people on Twitter, and that's where a lot of the audience is for my work. I mean, I've noticed that, you know, I get it. Like people are probably not going to tune in for a long time on a Twitter stream. But I don't have any way to interact with people on Twitter. So like right now I have all the chats coming in from Twitch and from YouTube and Facebook, but I don't see any way to integrate your Twitter, comments. And also like, I just find that the Twitter stream goes live and it's just, that's it. It just sits there. I think the first time I did it, maybe because I promoted it a bit more, I was getting a bunch of like people liking it and commenting, but I never saw it till after the stream. So is it just the only way to do it, just to like literally just sit there and have it open on your phone and watch for comments? yeah, I don't know. I haven't quite figured out the Twitter integration yet. But either way, we continue on. So, yeah, I'll see. I think it's too bad. I really, really would love the Twitter stuff to work. I think Twitter is a cool platform to be doing this stuff, and not a lot of people are doing it. So, okay, so what I just realized and what I think I am absolutely going to do is I'm going to keep. Yeah, that's true. So, like, I'm going to try to do this. This is probably a hacky way to do it, but what I'm actually going to do is try to put the body for this frog dude inside of the clothing, and then I'll hide the fisherman's body, but not the clothes. And I don't know if that's actually going to be possible. So that's the head gone. That's the hat gone. The cigar. Although I'm gonna keep the Pepe cigar for sure. For sure. I don't know how to get rid of that. Okay, the arms are gone. I think this is a double fishing rod, so get rid of that. The jacket we're keeping. The eyes we get rid of. The pants we're keeping. The eye we're getting rid of. The shoes I think we want to get rid of. Yeah, so we'll get rid of the shoes. There we go. And the teeth and the teeth. Okay, so this actually worked out not bad. The posing is a little off on the back, but we can fix that. So we'll go into pose mode. And we've got to bring this bone joint down. And I might have to be a little hacky with this and just bring the whole joint down. And rotate it back up. Just a little cheating here with the bone manipulation because the legs are not quite long enough. Yeah, hit me up on Discord. I have my own Discord. It's pretty small, but you're welcome to join it, or you can just do a friend invite. My Discord, I'm just Scoble on Discord, or I'll give you my actual, I'll give you my Discord channel. Of course, Discord updates. I don't know what just happened. Oh, man. Okay, there it is. So this is my Discord. I'll just grab the invite. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, happy to chat with you. Certainly not very good at, certainly new to this, but I'm anxious to learn. You can feel free to join if you want. If you don't want to, that's no big deal. But yeah. I think you're right. I think for me this is really cool, right? Like even one person here kind of just chatting makes me feel like I'm just streaming to no one. But even when I am, I just keep pretending. because with all the different platforms, I can't really pay attention. There's usually some people that pop in and out of one of the three. I think I had a bunch of people on YouTube earlier and that were asking questions, and then Twitch. So I do like that for someone new, even though it might hurt engagement. I got to say that it's definitely nice to be streaming on a multiple platforms because it just maximizes your chance of having somebody pop in. Having someone pop in who you can chat with, and it just sort of helps, break up the stream, give me something else to kind of focus on. But the point of the stream is not, like to drive like tons of. I think I'd be crazy nervous if, maybe not nervous, but I'd be distracted if I had 100 people in here or something. I don't know how people do it. It's not like I'm just trying to do gaming or something where like an audience is gonna like, for me, this is like what I'm like, this is me working, right? I can't do anything on Discord. What do you mean? Oh, in the channel, like, did you join my Discord? If you do, you have to usually do like a CAPTCHA to get in. If you're just send me an invite, I can just accept it. Is this you here? There we go. There we go. So at least I got you in there. Yeah, with my Discord, there's sort of just like a spam check at the beginning. Usually you just have to go to this verification and just verify. I don't know if maybe it's broken. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, I think that's probably it. There's probably an issue. I'll just reach out to my dev and see what's going on. Cool. I'll do that after the stream. Sorry about that. Oh, okay, it is working for you? All right, cool. So you're in here. We're reorganizing this. It's pretty complicated, but like, if I should see you, yeah, there you go. Oh, I guess you're not, looks like you're not verified yet, maybe, because I can't tag you. Yeah, it's not working. All right. I'll just say at Stu. Yeah. See if they can fix it. Okay, but we'll get you in there. I'll chat with you DM and we can fix it up. Okay, cool. I think I just want to make sure that this is fixed. And that it's all sort of set up in just trying to make sure it's all set up inside of the pants. Okay, that looks pretty good. Let's do a quick eye. Okay, let's take a peek here. So something's happening there. That's the body. So, oof, this is going to be a little bit difficult. Okay, this part's okay. I have to be careful not to move this too much because see how quickly you can get the hand out. Just want to make sure that was there. The material on this dude's kind of driving me nuts right now, so I'm just going to fix that quickly. Oh, let me pose this. I available. Object. Let's just see what's going on with the material. Interesting that it's got. I'll mess this up. I don't. Metallic is weird. Just bring this down a little bit. Just same with this one. Okay, that's cool. Okay, so this body thing is going to be tricky because I have to make. I want to move this guy, but I also don't want to screw up everything else. I wish I could just move this part independently, to be honest. I mean, I guess what I could do is I could just go into the model and I could sculpt it. Get rid of it. That's going to be much easier. Oh, it's so funny. I gotta look at the eyes too. I don't. I feel like the eyes are messed up. It feels like they're not. This should be white. I wonder if that's. Yeah, this is white. This is black. Why? Well, then why are they? Explain to me this. Something's just not right about that material. Can't quite figure out what it is though. What is it? Free to like 1 or 2 central, free complete tomorrow. But today works more better because I got some movement around stuff. Yeah, I'll ping you. I stream at 2:00 Eastern, so that unfortunately, that timing is probably not going to work. I mean, you can jump in the stream, we can chat while I work, but if you want to have a just like private 101, maybe we'll have to try tomorrow. But once I'm done the stream, I've only got 15 minutes left. I'll ping you and we'll find a time. But yeah, I'm definitely happy to chat. I appreciate it. If I could figure out why, if I could just figure out why this texture is not working, I'd be pretty happy. Okay. So it is working. So why is it working on the left and not the right? Okay, there we go. Weird. I shouldn't need emission though. It should just be, yeah, that's perfect. Okay, that's cool. Okay, so what was I doing? So I want to just finish this part. Okay, man, perfect. I appreciate you. Thanks for coming and joining this. And yeah, I know. Yeah, I appreciate it a lot. And yeah, we'll chat for sure. I make a duplicate of this guy. I want to bring this down into here, and I want to pair it with that. Perfect. Oh, I love it. Oh God, it's so great. It's like, I don't know what it is about this. It's so fun. Lighting on the mask looks good. I just want to bring it up a little bit. Okay, I can tweak that after. Lantern looks good. Donut looks good. Chair is I gotta be replaced, but I want to do that another time. Okay, cool. I feel pretty good about that. It's obviously, it's not perfect. I'll change a bunch of stuff around, but yeah, that's true. I might have some people that would want to do that, but yeah, I'd like to, I'm to not sit here with no one streaming. But yeah, I'm sure some people would be cool with just jumping in on that. Is there like an auto mod, or is it just like you have to get a person to do it? Okay, I'm feeling pretty good about this. I'm gonna do one more thing on this stream. Oh, okay. Put this mod. That's on Twitch, right? Okay, so I'm gonna see what is there. I have two curves and the fishing rod. So where's my other fishing rod? Okay, so the other fishing rod's there. I gotta duplicate these guys, and I'm gonna bring them down and parent them to here. I don't know where they went. Okay, cool. I'll try that out. I'll try out that mod thing. I want to do is I want to grab this curve, and I just want to try this line fishing line emission. So just kind of as experiment. I have this fishing line going from here to here, so I want to just grab an emission, and I'm going to grab the same. Okay, cool. I'll check that out. Okay, so it's hidden. Where is it? I guess I thought I took a duplicate. Oh yeah, it's going. Although it's off camera. That's the only issue. Looks like it should be. Yeah, this is something I have to adjust. It's just the camera, so you see. Oh, it's here. So it is going. Oddly, it is there, but for some reason on this side, it looks like it's going completely off camera. Let me see if I can figure out what that is. I want to take off. Oh yeah, we want to leave that on. Sorry, because that's the. I want to get rid of the fishing rod. Get rid of these curves. Okay, I think I just did it wrong. So if I go back down to this one. Oh, now it's off. What happened? What did I just do? Okay. Duplicate. Oh, I know what I did. Okay. I did is I unparented, keep transform. This is going to be the fishing. This is going to be fishing line emission. Okay, so we're going to bring this down and we're going to put it on. Okay, so I think this one's fine. Oddly, it doesn't look like it's going directly to the fishing line. Oh. Yeah, it's somehow slightly off. I can fix that. It's odd. Maybe the fishing line moved over. It's annoying. Oh yeah, the whole thing is off. I'm like beside myself with this. I've only got a few minutes left in the stream. I'll have to go and clean this up, but my fishing line that is here is this one, and I think that's like one of the. Where is this one here? Okay, this is the one. And I just don't know what happened. It looked like it moved. It definitely moved. I'm going to see if I can bring it back. Yeah, I mean, it's all off. Is something to do with parenting. So it was parented to the fishing line, and I must have done something I shouldn't have. Because now I'm gonna have to adjust it, and adjust it to get it back to where it was. I'll end up probably just resetting it, like bringing it in from the original, and completely organizing it properly so that because I had the string going perfectly through the fishing line. Like I kind of had it perfectly through the fishing line, and then I had it obviously perfectly lined up with the lure. But now you have a problem of like trying to line that all up together is like is pretty impossible. But just to get something to sort of show to finish the stream, you know, we're trying to make something that follows at least. This is like the stuff nightmares are made of, trying to line up an object like this that you got misaligned. But yeah, it's easier to just re-import it afterwards and redo it. But just wanted to show you this. So yeah, once I've got this sort of line in, and this other line over here, if I can figure this one out, is this one. I'll close that one off. And now I've got just this fishing line, this one here, and yeah, I can basically grab some emission on this and change it to whatever I want. So you've got sort of like that bright neon glow, and I can kind of change this to pink or change this to whatever color I want. I'll probably end up matching like that pink in this scene, and then, you know, we'll line it all up and we'll have a proper fishing line going. So I think that's it. It's 9 o'clock. I'm going to close up the stream. Solid 4 hours of frustration at the beginning with the armature and but getting the scene set up. But I feel like there's a lot of progress getting that Pepe, the frog, in there, getting some of the emission on the actual water, setting up the day-night scene. It was good progress. So I'll be back at it 2 p.m. Eastern this afternoon. We'll be flipping over to world creation in Unreal Engine 5 and Fortnite, all with the same location here in Arizona, in Sedona. So thanks for joining, and I'll see you again soon.